Good. And I'll record it from here too. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. It is, again, now it's the beginning of December, the first day. Well, this makes it very, very important because we've got this month to make concrete our plans for 2000 and the coming year. So it becomes very important to actually introspect now and make a very serious plan of what we're doing. So today, I talked with Dan a little earlier this week, and we talked about a movie that we saw, and we discussed it, and I wanted to chat a little bit about that. So, of course, let's start with the usual mantra that I have is the slaughterhouse of failure is not in our destiny. We shall persevere until we succeed. Ogmandino. However, the slaughterhouse of failure is in our destiny if we give up. So I had initially planned to just say, welcome back, Dan. I hope he's fine. I wasn't able to get him this morning, but so on the little chat that we have here, I'm sorry, I just got it all upside down here again. I wanted to say that for Dan, it was an important time as well because of having to slow down. You know, it's out of your control when you have to slow down about something. And Dan was, unable to use his hands, and he won't be able to use his hands for several days, maybe longer, weeks maybe. So it's a moment when you really have to reflect. And these are things that I say are good things that happen, the good side of things that happen from something that's in adversity. When you're forced to introspect and look and reflect and think about it and say, wow, how fortunate I was that I didn't have a problem before, how lucky, excuse me, how fortunate I am that I didn't break my neck. Things like that are important. And also the reflection on the care that the family is giving to you, the care that you've got from your wife and, the kids and everybody that cares for you. And these, I think, are moments when we strengthen our relationships with our families, and we're more appreciative of what we have. And so the relationship is enhanced. So today I want to talk about a little documentary that we saw, which is called Nyad. And this documentary was on Netflix. I think it was on Netflix. Netflix, yeah. And it's about a woman who was driven, obsessed, became obsessed, and she wanted to swim between Cuba and Key West. And it became an obsession for her. She swam many, channels and so on, and she had many records and so on. But her biggest driving force at the end of it was she wanted to absolutely swim between Cuba and Key West. And she tried, and she failed. And she tried again, and she failed. Now she's in her 60s. And she tried again, and she failed. And she tried a fourth time, and she failed. And by this time, she'd become so well known that at her age, she was trying to swim between Cuba and Key West. And she was invited to give talks, come and tell us how you feel and what motivates you, what drives you. How come you're so passionate about it and so on. So she's giving talks, but all the time she was feeling hollow because she was saying, I tried, but I failed. And I tried and I failed. And she had temper tantrums, and she was bad mood. She got into bad mood. And she was with, the people that were around her that were always her friends and so on. And she kind of even lost those and just obsessed with her wanting to succeed with this swim. So it's a loneliness of purpose. But managing to get a team and to believe in her was a big thing. Because, at 64 now, that she was, by the time she'd failed several times, people are saying, honey, it's 106 miles. And it's not just a swim for a morning. It's 3 or 4 days of swimming, days and night. You're not allowed to touch the boat. You're not allowed to touch the boat. We've got to feed you with a tube. And, to get people to believe in her, that was a big thing too. And some of the adversities were things like the currents. And we've talked about this so many times. She started in Cuba, and the current would have taken her to Mexico, or it may have taken her, in another direction completely, maybe to some place in the Caribbean, because of the currents. And we talk about this in our business. We've got to continually tweak for side wind, back tailwind, headwind. In our case, it's all kind of challenges we have, and we've got to keep tweaking our business to make sure we stay on course, to make sure we stay on track. Then she had other things like in the ocean with like jellyfish. She was, she got hit by these jellyfish, which were very, 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 it's a terribly painful experience. And, so she was pulled out of the water. That was some of the times she tried to do it. And there were continual adversities apart from the current. So, but the exhaustion at 64, to swim 106 miles day and night, no stopping, no touching anything, no touching the boat during that entire trip. And then you think about, so that's the individual. You think about even the team, the captain, planning for months. And you had to plan for months. When is the weather going to be? It's not going to rain. It's going to be a hurricane. It's not going to be a storm. The current has got to be more or less right. So the boat has to be in perfect shape. That's part of the captain's job, the team, the captain. Make sure there's no hitch on the boat. The boat's not going to be the problem for her not succeeding her desire after planning so many, many months during each year or during the year. So it's a huge responsibility for the captain with that swimmer and for the team. All of the team on the boat, make sure that they're all on the boat, that they're all attentive to the swimmer all time, 24/7 during those days of swimming. The star is the swimmer, but the team, without the team, there's nothing. You couldn't just get in the thing and swim. You need a whole team to make this thing happen. So ensuring that the sharks don't attack, constantly out there with making sure that she was safe. So the responsibility of each team member was huge. Without sleep for 4 days, 3 days, exhaustion. When she finally made it, her statement was the following. She literally, she could hardly walk, obviously, because she'd been paddling for 4 days, 3.5, nearly 4 days. And she managed to stand up where she hadn't been able to stand for that long time, staggered onto the sand. She wasn't allowed to be touched, and she was on terra firma, on the actual beach. Otherwise, it wouldn't have counted. It wouldn't have counted if she touched the boat. That was part of this whole thing. And she said, never, never, never give up. And you're never too old to taste your dream. Those were the first things she said when she got to the beach. She said, never, never, never give up. And you're never too old to taste your dream. And so she said also, this is a solitary sport, swimming, marathon swimming, but it takes a team. So that made us reflect a little bit about Nu Skin. How does all this have to do with Nu Skin? What does it have to do with us? Well, actually, in my opinion, everything. Because first of all, you've got to start off with a mindset. What do you want? I want to swim from Cuba to Key West. Yeah, but I mean, you're 60 years old. I mean, you're 50 something when you start, and I don't care. I want to do it. I absolutely want to do it, and I'm going to do it. Well, good luck. And this is where you start with your mindset of being absolutely convinced and sure of who you are and what you want. So no matter the age, 64 she made it after 4 tries. This was the 5th attempt. So, in our business, think about it. We've got a company that is helping us navigate the currents of business. The company is producing products for us that are apropos the time. For example, if we were in a Kodak and we had a Kodak, the business of photography, and it was Kodak, we'd be out of business. Nu Skin's kept up and ahead of the times by being able to be at the vanguard of the products needed for health and wellness, for beauty. They've understood this. The company's been alive for 40 years. And so they've advanced, they've progressed, they've developed. And they've developed with products that are absolutely timeless, perfect timing for what we need. That's part of the team. The delivery of the products. They arrive on time. We didn't even have any problem when they had all the problems of COVID and all the rest of it. The products still came on time. We still had very minor glitches. Other companies didn't even have product. But the company was there for us. This is the captain of the ship, the boat that's allowing us to go forward. The scientists make perfect products, perfect for what we need. The quality of what we have, it's never been in doubt. We've never had a recall. So this is part of our team. It works for, in our case, at Nu Skin, everybody on this call is part of a team. And we work for the success of each other, one for all and all for one. We're working for the success of the individual. That's what this is about. So when I saw this movie and I called Dan and we talked about it, this is what I believe is relevant to everybody that's on this call. Because we've got a company that is looking after our interests, that is helping us, that's doing what it can to make sure we've got everything right. But we have to have the mindset to be absolutely sure of what we want. And how are we going to get it? There's a proven system. The system is there. It's 40 years old. We don't have to reinvent anything. And we've got the individual strength to do it. And if we support each other and we understand how amazing the company is, unique, exclusive, patented products, there is still nobody who has the scanner. Nobody in the United States has the scanner. Nobody. And as far as I know, anywhere else too. It's a unique, exclusive, patented product. I mean, seriously, that's amazing to be able to say that. And we have no competition. And we can talk to any healthcare specialist we want to in the pharmaceutical, in the pharmacies, Pharmanex business. We just coming out with this well spa this next 2 weeks. Again, that's a unique, exclusive, patented product. It's an amazing product, which includes AI. It's using AI as well as the technology that goes with an iPhone and with our skin and so on. I mean, it's such exciting times. And we're in it. We're in the right place at the right time with the right products in the right business, and we can choose our teams. We can choose. All we need is six motivated leaders, and clone ourselves. Find people that are better than us. That's not easy. That's easy for me to find people that are better than me. But we've got to find people that are better than us to make our team, because everybody has a strength. And that Achilles heel that we all have can be overcome by people on our team that are there to help us if we fall on our weaker parts. But man, as a team, we're indestructible. Find your team. Make sure we're on the same page, with the same desire, with the same motivation, with the same obsession. And think about it. You know, this woman took years wanting to achieve her goal. And she tried, and again, and again, and again. And the embarrassment, think of the embarrassment publicly. I'm going to swim from Cuba to Key West. Wow, here comes the press. Here comes everybody. Wow, look at this woman. She's going to do this. Wow, amazing, amazing. And she didn't do it. Think of the embarrassment. Think of how mentally destructive that could be if one doesn't have the fortitude of personality to say, okay, so what? It wasn't a failure. What did I learn from that? What can I do to make it better? And that's part of what we should be thinking in our own business. When we have a hiccup, when we have a challenge, what do we learn from it? How can we get better? And never forget that we are not alone. We've got this amazing company that is there for us. We don't have to pay a scientist. We don't have to pay for rent. We don't have to pay for storage. We don't have to pay for anything. They pay us. What kind of a business is this? That they pay us for us to make money. That's the long, the short, and the tall of it. Anybody got anything they'd like to add? Because I get all onto my little horse here. I don't want to do that.
Hey, Lawrence, being in Florida, I remember well, Diana Nyad is who you're talking about.
Yes.
And, the first time she attempted it, great, everybody's behind her, and she failed again. And the second time, I believe, even back then it was CNN, and they were like, come on, you can't be real. This is something, nice try, you got great ambition. And she went ahead anyway and drove forward through all that negative criticism and really bad stuff. So I remember it well, being in Florida almost my entire life. In talking about what you were, with how that relates to us and our company, I got to bring something up. So Dr. Moore shared this with us last week. It's the Science of Longevity in the National Geographic issue last month, and recommended we go out and get it. And I thought, okay, I'll take a look at it. It's a $15 magazine. But I went out and I was just going to look through it. But the first page I opened up, living longer and better. And we go down through here, and in the second sentence, rapamycin, widely prescribed as a drug to prevent problems with kidney transplants. That's what Joe Chang discovered over 20 years ago. It's in the news today. It's just one example of how far forward we are. And I thought that's pretty impressive. and I opened up another page and it just happened to be this one. Caloric restriction in a pill. Where did that come from? It came from LifeGen Technologies, our company that we purchased, 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
Michael, what
far ahead.
stuff,
Go ahead, Jerry.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. What is that? Is that still on the shelf? That is that this month?
It says on here display until December 1st, 23. So it may be on the shelf. But these are the first two pages I opened up. And we are so far ahead of everyone else with what we are doing. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I want to point that out. If you can get the magazine, I also now highly recommend that.
Yeah, there's I've been reading a lot of metabolic books, and they talk about Rapa Nui, which are the Easter Islands, and what they discovered. And I'm like, Rapa Nui, rapamycin. Is that what Joe Chang discovered? And I'm like, I'm trying to be. I mean, you're right. We have this treasure trove that we didn't even realize we've had this whole time, and now articles are just coming out. And on one of the other calls that we had, someone mentioned that. Well, it was a podcast I was listening to. Do you know what they cover at medical conferences isn't in textbooks until 5 years later?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what we got over here. We're the leading edge of anti-aging and wellness and health. Good stuff, Mike. Thanks, Lawrence.
Yeah, no, thanks, Joe and Mike. Yeah, relevant, because this is just reinforcing what I've just been talking about, that we've got something that's a treasure. This company is a treasure. 85 full-time employed scientists.
Lawrence, you're a youthful treasure, and I'm not trying to patronize you, but let me tell you something. That dialogue that you just laid on everybody was absolutely wonderful. I mean, we all struggle. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't struggle with giving up or giving the best that they possibly can. But that puts it in perspective. And it just goes to show you now, the thing that comes from that is how bad do you really want it? You gotta really want it.
Yeah.
This woman really wanted it. So how bad do we really want to be successful in this business? And for me, I mean, I really want it bad. So I'm doing things that I'm not trying to center on myself here, but I'm doing things that I did 25 years ago in medical device sales, and I'm putting them back into practice now because everything old is new again. And, Life Packs made me new again. So, just amazing, Lauren, you touched a chord. So I just wanted to tell you that you're so valuable. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. There's one thing that you just said, Jerry, that's, I think, also highly relevant. Thank you, though. And there were times when this Diana Nyad was swimming, and she was absolutely exhausted, like she just couldn't go any further. And the person helping her, who was portrayed by Jodie Foster in the movie, looked at her and said, "You can do it."
Yeah.
There were times when she said, I'm going to die. There were times when she said, "I'm going to die. I can't. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going." She wasn't even afraid to die at certain moments. She was just prepared to die because that was her obsession, her dream, her goal. I'm not saying we should all have that, single driving thing, but it becomes important for us to really know what we want, know who we are, and what we want. Those are the hugely important things. Because if we know who we are, and you know who you are when things are tough. Things are going well. It's even difficult to administer wealth. Careful now. When you make a lot of money, it's also very difficult it's more difficult to administer wealth than scarcity. When you got no money, it's easy because you haven't got any. So you can only little here, there. When you got a lot of money, it's a lot more difficult. So you got to know yourself there too. How good an administrator are you of your wealth, of your health, of your life, of your money, of everything? So who are you and what do you want? And there's an example from this woman, Diana Nyad.
You know,
Another
we hear
great-
this comment about fail your way to the top, which is exactly what this lady did. And we have to keep on trying, and ideally find out, okay, what did I do wrong or what did I not do right, and keep on going. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and she was ridiculed in front of millions of people on national TV.
Yeah. Yeah,
But she
exactly.
kept going. She kept going. She had passion. She had passion and a dream. Just like this gentleman here, David Goggins. If you haven't read this book, read this. He failed being a SEAL and he went back and he passed it. He's achieved enormous things. But the point is, he said, I didn't realize when I started this mission that when we feel like we're done, we're only 40%. We still have 60% we can tap into. Most people give up when they get tired. They've only used about 40% of what they're capable of. It's mindset. It's about what you're talking about today, Morris.
And think about this for a second, what you just said. When we fail, it's our own ego that is hurt. We fail at something and we feel, oh my God. I said this I don't know, on a call this week somewhere. I said, at certain moments, I think, why am I so mediocre? But then I look in the mirror and I say, no, man, I'm fantastic. I'm way. May not be true, but that's what I put in my mind. Woman, so we fail, and it's our ego that hurts us. But this woman was hurt by millions of people who saw her on national TV. Oh, she failed. How much strength do you need to overcome what everybody else is thinking? You've got to put in your mind, who cares? I don't care. They're not going to be swimming with me. They're not putting bread on my table. They are nothing to me. I am who I am. And all these other criticisms and people who are there telling me this and that, the next thing, it's all this negative stuff. I don't care. I'm not going to listen to it. And just go forward. So we're already on time. I'm sorry. If anybody's got any parting shots, anything you want to say, I'd be very happy to hear it. Anybody? Okay.
The impossible is achieved every day, and it's by those that have passion for what they believe in and what they're doing.
You go.
Well said.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jerry, for your comments. Thanks, Michael, Joe, your input as well. Thanks, everybody. Blessings.
Thank
Go
you.
for December.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Go for
Great call.
God bless. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you.